Among the two kinds of jhana, Samatha jhana and Vipassana jhana, Sayadaw explained Vipassana jhana yesterday. Vipassana means, or Vipassana jhana means contemplating closely, concentratedly on the individual unique characteristics and common characteristics of nama-rupa phenomena that are arising due to the circumstances. When knowledge arises, one also develops Vipassana jhana. And Sayadaw also explained the characteristic of Panya, Dhamma Sabhava, Pativeda Lakkhana, Panya, meaning knowledge has the characteristic of discerning the true nature, penetrating the true nature of the nama-rupa phenomena. Each and every nama-rupa phenomena has the characteristics which are unique to them. And they also possess the common characteristics of impermanent suffering and non-self. Panya has the characteristic of discerning, penetrating the unique individual characteristics and common characteristics of the Dhamma in a very clear and distinct way. In the word Sabhava, Sa means one's own and Bhava means the state, the thing that really exists. Sabhava is the unique individual characteristic. The second one is Samanya Lakkhana, common characteristics. The characteristics of impermanent suffering and non-self are common to all nama-rupa. As every nama-rupa has the common thing that they arise and pass away. Every nama-rupa arise and pass away, and thus they are not the things that one should depend on. Because nama-rupa arise and pass away, they are no good, and there is no self involved in the nama-rupa, and thus they are anatta. There is no atta involved in nama-rupa, and nama-rupa are not atta themselves. It is called anatta lakkhana, characteristic of non-self. The nama-rupa phenomena that arise due to the causes, they all arise and pass away, and thus nama-rupa phenomena has the common characteristic of impermanent suffering and non-self. Pathavi dhatu, earth element, arises and passes away. All materiality which arise pass away. All mentality which arise pass away. Phassa, contact, arises and passes away. As these nama-rupa phenomena arise and pass away, they are suffering. Each of these nama-rupa phenomena has their own unique individual characteristics. They have Sabhava Lakkhana, they have their own unique individual characteristics. And also they possess the common characteristics. Samana means common, the commonness of impermanent suffering and non-self. And bhava means the state. So samanya means the state of being common, as they all possess the characteristics of impermanent suffering and non-self. Discerning unique individual characteristics and common characteristics of nama-rupa phenomena, one develops samasana jnana, and one needs to know how one should practice in order to discern Sabhava, Lakkhana. And today's Sayadaw will answer to that question from both theoretical and practical aspects. The true nature are the things that are really arising, that really exist. So the nama-rupa phenomena has the unique individual characteristics and common characteristics. Among the two kinds of characteristics, it is important to know the unique individual characteristics first. Sayadaw compares it to the example: food has different flavors: sweetness, sourness, spicy, hot, pungent, and bitter. Some of the food may contain 2 flavors, or some of the food may contain 3 flavors. In the same way, the nama-rupa phenomena that are arising at the sixth sense door has the unique individual characteristics which are compared to the flavor of food. When eating the food, one takes it into the mouth, chew it properly, paying attention. When one pays attention and chew properly, one will know the flavor of the food. In the same way, when one is mindful of the nama-rupa phenomena at the moment they arise, one will come to discern the unique characteristics, the true nature of the nama-rupa phenomena, which are compared to the taste, the flavor of the food. The mind is so accustomed to taking paṇḍitā concept as the object. The mind is so used to taking the form or shape concept and manner concept. As these concepts, form or shape concept and manner concept, has been hiding and concealing the true nature, and thus Sabhava Lakkhana lies hidden as it is concealed by paṇḍitā concept. Only when the nature is too extreme, one realizes it. For example, if it is extreme cold, if it is extreme heat, then one will realize it is hot or cold. So, coming to know the heat and cold when it is too extreme, it is not like the knowing through the practice. Knowing merely as just heat and cold, one does not know it as nama-rupa, one does not know it as cause and effect, one does not know it as impermanent suffering and non-self. So just knowing the extreme heat or cold of the weather, it is just ordinary knowing. In the beginning of the practice, it is not easy to choose to note the true nature. So, when one is eating the food, when one chews properly, if one does not pay attention, one will just know it as a piece of food. In the same way, at the beginning of the practice, one knows the paṇḍitā concept at first, and later on, one will discern the paramattha, the ultimate truth. In order to know the ultimate truth, one should be mindful of the object at the moment it arises. And the late Venerable Mahasi Sayadaw had set up a motto that in order to discern the true nature, one should be mindful at the moment the object arises. The late Venerable Mahasi Sayadaw explained clearly so that even a young person will know how to practice. So in the saying, one should be mindful every time the object arises. One should be mindful at the moment of arising. The word says arising, but the word arising has many meanings. Arising here mentions Buddha, the things that really exist at the present moment. It is not something that had arisen in the past. It is not something that will arise in the future, but it is something that is arising, happening at the very moment, at the present moment. The things that arise due to the relevant circumstances, they are arising at the present moment. They are fresh and new, and one should be mindful of these fresh, new objects. By being mindful of the object that is fresh and new, one will discern correctly and one will not know wrongly. So in the saying, one should be mindful at the moment of arising. The word arising can also be taken as at the moment of seeing, at the moment of hearing, at the moment of smelling, at the moment of tasting, at the moment of touching, at the moment of knowing, at the moment of rising, at the moment of falling, at the moment of sitting, at the moment of touching, at the moment of bending, stretching, at the moment of lifting, moving, placing, at the moment of blinking, at the moment of opening, closing of the eyes, and so on. So when it is said that one should be mindful at the moment of arising, it applies to every object that is arising at the present moment. There are activities that are produced by the intention, and there are activities that are arising itself due to the relevant circumstances. Sayadaw gives an example of rubber. A 9-inch rubber piece, when it is stretched, it can even stretch to 18 inches or 36 inches. In the same way, when the yogi does sitting meditation, yogi has to focus his or her mind on the abdomen. When one inhales, the abdomen rises, and one should be noting rising of the abdomen as soon as the abdomen rises up. And when one exhales, the abdomen falls, and one should be mindful at the moment the abdomen falls. When noting rising of the abdomen, one may come to know stiffness or tension or movement. So in order to know the true nature, such as stiffness, tension, warmth, movement, one should be mindful at the moment the abdomen rises. When noting, one should apply all the mental strength that are needed in the noting. When one comes to practice, one should have faith and confidence in the practice. One should know the benefits of Satipatthana practice, and one should have a strong will to gain the benefits of practice. When coming to the meditation center as a yogi has to be doing sitting meditation in the Dhamma hall. After the yogi has sat down, she should focus his or her mind on the abdomen, and one should note rising at the moment abdomen rises. One should note it with aim and effort. Aiming the noting mind onto the object, it is one of the jhanic factors. One should aim and direct one's noting mind towards the object. In order that the noting mind falls on the object of meditation, one should exert effort so that the noting mind will reach the object of meditation. One should exert effort in the practice. One should not practice in an easygoing manner. One should not be cold or sluggish, but one should constantly exert ardent effort, full of alertness, activeness, ready to note the presently arising object. When one's noting mind is aimed onto the object and put effort, the mind will fall onto rising of the abdomen, and one's noting mind sticks onto the nature such as stiffness, tension. When the noting mind sticks onto the object, sati, mindfulness, develops. When mindfulness is firmly established on the object, it is called satipatthana. The mindfulness is firmly established steadfastly on the object. As the mindfulness is sustained on the object, mindfulness will become firm and steady, and the noting mind will fall calm and collected on the object. When the mind falls calm and collected on the object, samadhi, concentration, develops, and it is khanika samadhi, momentary concentration. When khanika samadhi, momentary concentration, becomes strengthened, the noting mind will fall calm and collected on the object. When the mind falls on stiffness, yogi discerns stiffness. When the noting mind falls on tension, yogi discerns tension. And when the noting mind falls on movement, yogi comes to know the nature of movement. What the yogi comes to know is true knowledge. It is not knowledge learned from theory. It is not the kind of knowledge that is learned from teachers, but it is the knowledge one attains by direct experiential practice. So, when objects arise, one should be noting it right away. And when rising arises, one should note it right away. When falling of the abdomen arises, one should note it right away. When one is sitting, one should note as sitting. When there are thoughts, one should note it as thinking. When there is pain, one should note it as pain. When there is ache, one should note it as aching. In this way, one should note the object that is presently arising at the present moment. When the noting mind falls calm and collected on the object, one comes to discern Sabhava Lakkhana, unique individual characteristic. One comes to know the true nature. So in the saying, one should be mindful at the moment of arising. When it is said at the moment of arising, the word arising can be taken in many ways. It can be taken as seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, bending, stretching, sitting, touching. So one should be mindful at the moment these objects arise, so that one comes to know the true nature. So this explains to the question how one should practice in order to discern the true nature. In the beginning, one does not discern the unique individual characteristics. So in the beginning of the practice, one develops Sila Visuddhi, purification of morality, and one has to note the object continuously. In the beginning, the mindfulness is not as continuous, and thus Citta Visuddhi, purification of the mind, has not developed. When Citta Visuddhi, purification of the mind, has not developed, one does not discern the true nature, but one has to keep on noting the object with aim and effort. When the noting mind falls on the object, it is good enough. One has to be noting the rising and falling of the abdomen in order to know the true nature, such as stiffness, tension, movement, and so on. In the beginning of the practice, when Citta Visuddhi, purification of the mind, has not been developed, one's noting mind may fall on the form or shape of the abdomen, and the noting mind may fall on the manner of moving. Whatever it is, whichever way it is, whether the noting mind falls on form or shape of the abdomen or the manner, it is good enough so long as the mind does not go on to other things. Noting the rising and falling of the abdomen, as the noting mind is aimed towards the rising of the abdomen systematically, whether the noting mind falls on form or shape or manner, the mind will no longer go onto sensual objects. At the moment the noting mind falls on the rising of the abdomen, there will be no greed, no attachment or craving to see good things, to hear good sounds and so on. There will be no ill will, wanting to destroy others. There will not be any Dhyavada, ill will. There will not be vihinsa, vitaka. There will not be thoughts about tormenting others. So in this way, when the noting mind is aimed onto the object, these wrongful thoughts cannot arise. This is the immediate benefit one gets by noting the object. As the noting mind is direct or face to face with the object, the wrongful thoughts has no chance to arise. As the yogi knows the object with effort, having effort present, one can overcome laziness. Atapa viriya, ardent effort, has to be asserted so that one can have victory on laziness. In the beginning of the practice, laziness is the nearest internal enemy that gives the most trouble. If one does not assert effort in the practice, laziness can arise. Asserting effort in the practice, tina, sloth, which manifests as not asserting effort, withdrawing, and nidda, becoming exhausted. Such kind of tina, nidda, sloth and torpor cannot arise as one asserts effort. Noting the object with aim and effort, when the noting mind hits the target, the object of meditation, the noting mind rubs onto the object and one becomes certain, and thus uncertainty will not arise and one gains benefit. As one develops mindfulness by noting the object with aim and effort, the defilement that can arise by lack of mindfulness will be the defilement that can arise by lack of mindfulness has no chance to arise. Sati, mindfulness, protects the mind away from defilement. Having sati, the defilements are prevented from arising. It is called rakha. There is prevention away from the defilements before they arise. Avarana means blocking. If the defilements arise, one blocks it by mindfulness so that they cannot arise any further. When there is rakha varana, protection and blocking away from these defilements, the mind will be safe and secure. There will be goodti, security of the mind away from the defilement. So this is the immediate benefit one gets by practicing. When the noting mind falls calm and collected, there will be avikhepo. The mind will not be distracted. The mind will not scatter, but it will be calm, collected, unified, and thus samadhi, concentration, develops. When concentration develops, one also develops citta visuddhi, purification of the mind. When citta visuddhi, purification of the mind, is developed, one comes to know the true nature when the noting becomes strong. When one's noting mind falls on the object, one comes to know the true nature such as stiffness, tension. Discerning stiffness, tension, one discerns the unique individual characteristic. And one also comes to know that stiffness and tension is apart from the noting mind. So in this way, yogi also discerns distinctly between mind and matter. When noting the rising and falling of the abdomen, one should note it with the necessary mental strength that are needed in the noting. If the person notes once, then this mental strength will arise once. If the person notes again and again continuously, the mental factors will also arise one after another continuously, so that this mental strength will be developed, cultivated, increased, so that this mental strength will become from small to big, from tender to ripe. It is called bhavana, developing, cultivating, increasing. When one develops citta visuddhi, purification of the mind, one comes to discern the true nature. One discerns the true nature, such as stiffness, tension, movement, and one can discern it by being mindful at the moment rising, falling takes place. So one should be mindful at the moment the abdomen rises in order to know the true nature, such as stiffness, tension, movement. And as one continues to note, one also discerns cause and effect. Rising and falling of the abdomen is connected with breathing in and out. If there is no breathing, rising and falling of the abdomen will not take place. Rising is connected with breathing in, falling of the abdomen is connected with breathing out. If there is no breathing, there will not be rising and falling of the abdomen. Every being who has lungs has to inhale. Only if the being inhales, then it will be comfortable. If one holds the breath for long, it will bring discomfort. Only if the being breathes in, then one will feel comfortable. So when one holds the breath, there will be discomfort. It will generate the intention to breathe in, and breathing in arises. And the intention to breathe out will cause the breathing out. So in this way, breathing in and out is the cause, rising and falling of the abdomen is the effect, and one knows the cause and effect. In order to know cause and effect, in order to discern cause and effect, one should be mindful at the moment the object arises. Discerning cause and effect, one also makes progress in the practice. Noting, practicing continuously, one develops aiming, effort, mindfulness, concentration, and this mental strength will become stronger and stronger. So to the yogis who practice diligently, they discern mind and matter, cause and effect within a few days. So these diligent yogis, when they are practicing, noting the rising and falling of the abdomen with aim and effort, they come to discern mind and matter, cause and effect, and they explain their experience to the teacher. When noting rising and falling, At times the falling disappears, falling of the abdomen does not take place, and the yogi does not know what to do as the falling of the abdomen disappears. At times, the rising of the abdomen also disappears. When falling of the abdomen disappears, the noting mind that knows the falling also will not take place. The noting mind arises only when there is object to be noted. When there is no object to be noted, the noting mind that knows the object will not take place. When rising and falling of the abdomen are arising, the noting mind that knows rising and falling will also arise. When there is no rising of the abdomen, the noting mind that knows the rising will not take place. And when there is no falling, the noting mind that knows the falling of the abdomen will not take place. Because there is no cause, rising and falling of the abdomen, which arise as object, does not arise, then the effect, the noting mind, will not arise. So the law of Vipassana is Buddha Bhutato Passati. One should observe the object, Buddha, that really exists. Buddha means the thing that really exists, that really arises, that is really present at the present moment. Buddha is defined as Buddhanti Khanda Pinsaka, meaning that Buddha is the 5 aggregates that really exist. In other way, Buddha are the Nama and Rupa. These Nama Rupa are arising due to their relevant cause. As the relevant cause arise, the Nama Rupa take place as the effect, and these Nama Rupa can be discerned directly by experiential knowledge. These Nama Rupa are called Paramatha. They are the ultimate truth that can be discerned. The Paramatha, the ultimate reality that can be discerned through direct knowledge. And Passati, one should know the object in the way it really is. Bhutato is defined as Yatha Sabhavato, meaning one should discern it in the way it really exists, or in the way it really is. Yatha Sabhavato is also defined as Lakkhana, Samanyato. One should discern these Nama Rupa with their own unique characteristics and common characteristics. So in order to know the Nama Rupa of their unique individual characteristics and common characteristics, one should be noting at the moment these objects arise. So that's why the late Venerable Mahasi Sayadaw wrote the motto, one should be mindful at the moment of arising, so that one comes to know the unique individual characteristics and common characteristics of the Nama Rupa. When one discerns mind and matter, cause and effect, and as one continues to practice, one comes to see the true nature, one comes to discern the unique individual characteristics as well as the common characteristics, and one discerns the arising and passing away of objects. When one discerns the arising and passing away of the object, it is the beginning of Vipassana, and one discerns Samanya Lakkhana, common characteristic, and Saraji will continue to explain tomorrow.